All right, so today I'm going to show y'all how I like to make my bourbon chicken. I don't know about you, but anytime I went to the mall or when I was, traveling back and forth to Bowie after high school, we would go to the food court and we would get bourbon chicken, and it was always my favorite thing to get. So let me just show y'all exactly how easy it is to put together. So this is what you're going to need. I have about 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I'm going to tell you right now, this recipe would probably only feed you about 2 to 3 servings. So if you know you're going to be extra hungry that day, I would advise you to double, if not triple, this entire recipe. I'm making this just for myself, so I'm only going to use about 1.5 pounds. Use whatever type of bourbon that you would like. For those of you that are going to say, are there any substitutes for bourbon because you can't have alcohol, don't put the bourbon in it, and then don't call it bourbon chicken. That's the best thing I can tell you. You're going to need some sesame oil, Shaoxing cooking wine, less sodium soy sauce. I would not use regular soy sauce for this recipe. If you do have to use regular soy sauce, you're going to have to reduce how much you're going to use, or it's going to end up overly salty, or you're going to have to counterbalance it with more brown sugar. Oyster sauce, hoisin sauce, white pepper. I'm going to be using ginger paste and garlic paste. You guys, you don't always have to use fresh. If you don't have fresh, it is okay. Let me tell you something. This brand right here is a great brand. I stand by this company. So if you aren't going to use fresh and you're looking for something that's already kind of bottled up, this would be the company that I would say stick with. The optional MSG, cornstarch to kind of thicken it up. And then I have 1/3 cup of tightly packed light brown sugar. You see that? You see that? You see that? Don't ask me for the damn ingredient list. Come on, child. Now, to marinate the chicken, we're going to keep it actually quite simple because all of the flavor is really going to come from the sauce itself, so you don't really have to do too much to the chicken. We're going to go in with 1/4 teaspoon of the garlic paste, 1/4 teaspoon of the ginger paste, and surprise, surprise, 1/4 teaspoon of the white pepper, and 1 teaspoon of the hoisin sauce. You're going to go in and now give all of this a thorough mix. And that is it for marinating the chicken. I like to let this sit for about 15 minutes prior to cooking. Do not be tempted to add in any salt. I'm telling you right now, if you do, it's going to be overly salty. The only thing that you could add to this, if you wanted to, you could add in some onion powder, but it's not really necessary. In my wok, I'm going to go in with a little bit of neutral oil. I'm working with avocado oil. Remember, anytime you're working with Asian cuisine, make sure you're using a neutral oil, not olive oil, not coconut oil, nothing that's heavily flavored. And now that I'm starting to see a light whiff of smoke, I'm going to go on ahead and start to cook off my chicken thighs. You want to make sure that these are fully cooked off. They will take roughly about 2 to 3 minutes per side. While your chicken is cooking, let's go on ahead and let's get our sauce together. So I'm going to add in the 1/3 cup of the light brown sugar. We're going to add in 1/4 cup of the less sodium soy sauce. We're going to add in 1/2 table of the hoisin sauce, 1/2 tablespoon of the oyster sauce, 1 teaspoon of the Shaoxing wine, and 1/8 teaspoon of the pure sesame oil. Give all of this a whisk together first. I'm going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of the ginger paste, just about 1/2 teaspoon. And then I'm also going to add in about 1/2 teaspoon of the minced garlic as well. Now that you can adjust. If you want more, you can add in more, but I want it to be equal parts. Give that a whisk. And the 1/2 teaspoon of the optional MSG. Give this a taste. And then see if you would like to adjust the sweetness. As you can see, we have left out the bourbon because that will be added in towards the end. And as you guys can see, I've allowed this chicken to really cook to get some beautiful coloring on it. That's what you want. Now, if you want, you can also do this on the grill outside, but doing it in a wok is going to be also absolutely amazing because there's so much flavor already built into this. I'm going to take this out and then repeat the process for the rest of the chicken. But look at how beautiful this chicken looks. I mean, it's just... that's what you want. Beautiful coloring. Alrighty, you guys. So now that all of my delicious chicken is all done, I'm going to go on ahead and take this over to a cutting board and then chop all of this down. While I'm chopping it down, though, I have turned the heat off of my wok because I don't want this wok to get too hot. And just as a suggestion, when you start to chop down this chicken, move quick about it. A lot of juice is going to come out and you want to keep all of that juice. I'm going to chop it down to it's about this size piece. These are pieces that were kind of just broken off, but this is about the size that you want. So I'm going to chop this chicken down really, really quick and then get it back on the plate because I want to keep all of those juices. If there ends up being an excessive amount of oil in the bottom of your wok, go on ahead and remove that before you add in your sauce and make sure your heat is all the way on low. Add your sauce directly to the wok. Using a dry measuring spoon, I have measured out 2 tablespoons of the bourbon. You can use more, you can use less. Now that my sauce is coming up to a simmer, I'm going to add in my cornstarch slurry, and that was literally just a teaspoon of cornstarch with a splash of water. You don't need too much. Once this starts to thicken up and can coat the back of a spoon, then we can proceed to add in the bourbon. All right, my sauce is looking and smelling divine, so I'm going to go on ahead and add in that delicious bourbon. Whew, boy, we doing cooking around here. Yes, Lord. Let that go for another minute or so. You can now go ahead and add in all of that delicious chopped up chicken and give that a good toss around. And allow that to go for about a minute or two. Look at this. My God. You wait till it thicken up. Bruh. Do y'all see what I see? Do y'all see what I see? Look at how incredible this chicken looks. Look at how the sauce is thickened up. The chicken is tender and juicy. Jesus. You do not have to go to the mall. And I'm telling you, if you know that you are heavy-handed and you're going to be extra hungry, double or triple the recipe, because this is probably only enough for 1 or 2 servings, to be quite frank, for most people. Well, for me, this is enough for probably about 2 or 3, but for most people, this ain't enough about 1 or 2. I'm going to let this go for just another minute or so, and then I'm going to top it off with some green onion and call it a day. And just like that, my friends, that is how I make my bourbon chicken. Serve it over rice, put in lettuce wrap, do what you want with it. Just eat it good. Let's go in for a taste test, child. I think it is high time we going for a taste test. Let's see. I'm gonna tell you something. If you follow this recipe to a T, I can almost guarantee you will never want bourbon chicken from another mall again. This is actually insane. Baby. Goodbye.